Great. Would you please tell us your name?
Hi, it's Joyce Hendricks.
Okay.
Am I looking at you or am I looking at there? What am I doing?
Up to you. You can just look at her. Be natural.
Gotcha.
So what have you brought to the harvest today?
I brought two sort of small books that I have had for quite a while. This one is a program from the dedication of the high school. And this is from 56. This is from the mid-50s. I brought that. And I brought this program from a spectacle that apparently used to get done on a yearly basis in the 50s here. A historical presentation with a cast of thousands. It's crazy. So I did, and both of these I'm quite sure I found at yard sales as far as the origin of them.
What stood out to you from both of these?
What stood out? Well, I taught at the high school. I taught in the school district for a number of years, and I ended up teaching at the high school. I taught art, and it was very interesting to me to look at what the high school used to look like, and I know it's been through a lot of renovations and a lot of changes, but it was very interesting to me to take a look at that. And then I do theater, so this particular one with the Out of the Wilderness play interested me for that reason.
Does it have a description of what the Out of the Wilderness play is?
It does. Oh, I didn't do my homework.
That's okay.
My bad. It's a drama of Selinsgrove's past featuring the Pennsylvania Dutch. At one point I did read this, and I if I'm remembering correctly, it did lean a lot toward the Pennsylvania Dutch or Pennsylvania German heritage of this area. So that's what that was about. And the players who presented it were called the Selinsgrove Centennial Players, which says to me that at some point this first got produced when Selinsgrove had its centennial celebration. And then after that a couple of times.
Do you know where they put the play on?
I think I recall this having been done at what is now the racetrack, because the Selinsgrove Speedway, because it says it is presented where the Selinsgrove Fair used to happen, and that was down there at the south end of town. The Selinsgrove Fairgrounds, I think it used to be called, and that was, I think, before the racetrack was actually built. So that's where that happened.
Did anything stand out to you in the Selinsgrove Joint Area?
Oh my gosh, this totally stood out to me. This is hilarious. Can I find that picture?
Yeah, go ahead.
Faculty room. First of all, check that out. First of all, there were boys' faculty rooms and girls' faculty rooms. Everybody was a little segregated at that time. Secondly, if you look closely at the picture, you will see an ashtray on the table and the teacher in the middle with a cigarette in his hands. So that's what jumped right off the page when I was glancing through this last night before I brought it here. Things have changed very much, and I thought that was hilarious. You can't even smoke on the school grounds outside any longer. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But what stood out to me about the high school piece here was how some things have stayed the same and how some things have changed. Like the gym pretty much looks exactly like it did in the 50s. And some other things, you know, have changed a lot. And then, you know, they had courses like homemaking. Hello, homemaking. And gosh, a lot of things that are, you know, combined courses and that just no longer exist. Just simply no longer exist. But it's just always interesting to take that little walk down memory lane. And then this also has all the other school buildings, the elementary school buildings that used to exist around here. And when I first moved here in 1971 to teach, I taught at all these buildings. Freeburg, Washington is now a community center down in Freeburg. Shamokin Dam School is gone. Monroe Township School is gone. The Med Express place sits on that site. And I'm not sure, I think in Port Trevorton, Chapman Union is still there, but it's just kind of interesting from my perspective too that this is what the school district itself looked like when I first moved here and how much that has changed. So,
Is there anything that's changed since this that you wish hadn't?
personally, and I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, I know for economic reasons that consolidating schools and not using those little brick schools any longer, that's one thing that I really wish had not happened, because I taught in the outlying schools, and small classes, small class sizes, I mean, the whole building was rather small, and it was better for the children, truly better for the children. And at the outlying buildings, a lot of the children could walk to school every day. They weren't on the bus so much of their daytime. So that was that's one thing I think kids right now have no knowledge of, and it was very cool to have that kind of system. Obviously, that's the kind of school, I went to a small neighborhood school, and it's a good thing. It's gone by the wayside, but that reminded me of all those buildings that are not there anymore. We good?
Do you have any final thoughts for the people watching this interview?
Let me ask you a question. The overall idea for this is to bring as much of Selinsgrove history into awareness as possible. Is that what the goal is with what you're doing?
Yeah, that is what our goal is.
Okay. My final thing would be to say that I did move here in 1971 from Wilkes-Barre, and truthfully, when I came here, I never thought I would stay because it was so small. I felt like there was nothing to do, all of that. And then it was kind of like, the longer I stayed here, the more people I got to know, and the more there are things to do, and there were things to do. I totally enjoyed living here, and I've been here ever since. If I didn't like it, I'd have been long gone. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to be said for the town of Selinsgrove, and right now there are a lot of groups working to build it up, make it better, bring more business in, bring more activities in. There are a lot of dedicated groups working on that as well right now. So that's kind of why I stayed here, and that's why I'm glad to be here.
Great.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I think this is a great idea.